The turn of the millennium brings big changes for Kievan Rus under Vladimir the Great, a ruler with an unlikely backstory. This kid had no reasonable expectation of leading the realm. He was only 14 when his dad died. He had an older brother who was duly crowned. Vladimir, the third son, and his mom wasn't even a proper queen, she was a slave, so he was pretty psyched that he got to lead the northern Kievan province of Novgorod, and he figured that was going to be his life. But big brother Yaropolk, the new ruler, had other ideas. He had already murdered their other brother, and he was coming for Vladimir, suspecting both of disloyalty to him. So Vladimir looted the treasury and fled to Scandinavia, where the Rurik dynasty still had plenty of relatives. There, Vladimir grows up and makes friends with the King of Norway, his kinsman Hakon Sigurdsson, and Sigurdsson lends him an army. Vladimir uses his wealth to buy some Varangian mercenaries in addition, and then return to Kievan Rus, landing in Novgorod, to commence an invasion of Kievan Rus to take out big brother Yaropolk. I issued a general trigger warning at the beginning of the course that history is R-rated at best, filled with messed up violence, but the narration for this slide is particularly bad, so just putting it out there, you can get the gist from just reading the slide. You don't have to hear the narration if you don't want to. So here on the right, you see Vladimir the Great. Well, he's not great yet. He's not even the ruler yet. He's leading in this invasion force, right? They landed at Novgorod, and now they're moving south into Polotsk, the next province in Kievan Rus. And the rulers of Polotsk have a daughter, Rogneda, who is the fiancée of big brother Yaropolk, the legitimate ruler of Kievan Rus. Vladimir proposes marriage to her. Don't marry my big brother, marry me instead. I'm going to be running this place pretty soon. As you can see from the painting, Rogneda not feeling it at all. Parents also not digging it. They shut him down. They're like, no way. And in rejecting him, they cite the fact that they are of pure noble birth, whereas he is the son of a slave mom. And this sets him off. Vladimir, on the spot, rapes her in front of her parents. And then, because her parents witnessed that crime, he has them killed too. And then he forces her to marry him. Vladimir's Norwegian and Varangian force is now picking up some local support. They march through Polotsk and down to Kiev. He bribes some of Yaropolk's followers who trick Yaropolk into leaving Kiev so Vladimir can take the city in his absence. They then corner Yaropolk in a different fortress, lay siege to it, and Vladimir proposes peace talks to Yaropolk, promises him safe passage. Yaropolk falls for it, and a couple of Varangians assassinate Yaropolk for Vladimir the Great. And now, Vladimir the Great is ruler of Kievan Rus. At this point, you might be asking, how's this guy great? So far, he's just psycho-cruel, even by medieval standards. And indeed, he's considered great not for how he became ruler, but what he did as ruler. And what was that? Well, in the illustration, you can see Vladimir surviving a possible assassination attempt by, on the left, his forced wife Rogneda, and on the right, one of the sons that she bore him. Vladimir survives his marriage. He actually has 5 wives, and they bear him a total of 10 sons, so the Rurik dynasty will live on. He also does a decent job of keeping Rus reasonably strong. He loses ground on some frontiers, gains land on some other borders, but for the most part, keeps it together. But that's weak sauce, right? You're supposed to extend the dynasty. You're supposed to defend your borders. What is the real thing that makes him great? Answer, religion. Early in his reign, he was a generous sponsor of the pagan Slavic native religion, but he changes his mind and decides it's time to upgrade to a civilized religion, and he considers the different options available. Right? The Volga Bulgars next door practice Islam. So do some of the Turkic people in the neighborhood. So he thinks about Islam, but he learns that you can't eat pork, and that's a deal breaker because he loves bacon, and that you can't drink alcohol. And he believes that neither he nor the Russian people can live without wine, so Islam is out. Next, he considers Judaism. Surprisingly, the Turkic Khazars next door, many of their leaders have converted to Judaism, so this is a local option as well. And here, Vladimir rejects Judaism because, well, Jews, you say you're the chosen people, but you got run out of the Holy Land like 800 years ago, and if you were really God's chosen people, he wouldn't have let you be evicted from Jerusalem. So Judaism is out, and it comes down to the two local flavors of Christianity. Will it be Catholicism, the religion of Western Europe, or will it be Eastern Orthodoxy, the religion of the Byzantine Empire, and now also the South Slavs? This painting is showing Vladimir, who is inexplicably old in this painting, considering the relative merits of Catholic and Orthodox Christianity. You have a pouty Catholic prelate on the right, because Vladimir is clearly impressed by the Orthodox fella in the middle, showing him a Bible in Cyrillic. But this story about Vladimir sort of shopping around religious options on their merits might be true, but I argue that there are more practical considerations. Namely, Vladimir is interested in making a strategic, economic, military alliance, and the most powerful force in his side of Europe, in Eastern Europe, is the Byzantine Empire. So he's looking for a political and military alliance with the Byzantine Empire. Choosing their religion, the Eastern Orthodox Church, makes sense. This is a way that he's going to cement this proposed alliance. He has an unusual method of getting the deal done. His unusual method is attack. The Byzantine Empire still has land on the Crimean Peninsula. So Vladimir attacks. He seizes one of the Byzantine ports in Crimea. And he sends a message to the Byzantine Emperor. And that message is, I will give you your port back if I can marry your sister, Princess Anna. Now, this is unusual and unprecedented. The Byzantine Empire considered itself the worthy successor of the Roman Empire. When Western European royals and nobles proposed marriages to Byzantine royalty, the answer was no. Right? This was not done. There's Princess Anna. So typically, the Byzantine Empire rejected these kinds of proposals. But in this case, the emperor was listening. There's one sticking point. Vladimir is still a pagan, so the emperor demands that he become a Christian, because he can't go marrying off his sister to a pagan. So Vlad's like, yep, dunk me, I'm ready. Now there's a story that he had gone temporarily blind, and that when he was baptized it restored his sight, and this was supposed to be a miracle. There's some baggage, right? He's got those 5 pagan wives that he needs now to dump. Rogneda ends up becoming a nun. Next, Vladimir has to get the Russian people on board. So he publicly destroys the pagan idols, drags them through the mud, burns the wooden ones, smashes the stone ones, and blows the minds of the Russian people, because he's doing this horribly blasphemous stuff, and they think the gods should punish him, but the gods don't punish him. So clearly their pagan gods are weak, and thus the Rus come to Christianity, and this is what makes Vladimir the Great not just Vladimir the Great as a ruler. Vladimir is also a saint in the Catholic and Eastern Orthodox churches for bringing the Russian people to Christianity. Yep, that was my phone. Sorry about that. This is St. Vladimir Monument on St. Vladimir Hill in Kiev, Ukraine today. Ukraine and Russia, among other things, are also squabbling over Vladimir as patron saint. He's patron saint both of Ukraine and Russia, and they don't want to share. Each wants the other to give up the glory of having Vladimir as the country's patron saint. Here's a Kievan Rus coin minted during Vladimir's reign, and before you're too hard on the craftsmanship, here for comparison purposes is a Byzantine coin minted around the same time, about 1000. The ruler at this point was Basil II, the guy who gave his sister Anna in marriage to Vladimir. So we're going to take a break, post the rest of the Slavic slides another time. Thanks, everybody. Goodbye.